It's live.
Woohoo.
Yeehaw.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Let me just get all this stuff going here. It's definitely Tuesday.
It is.
All right.
I thought today was Monday all day today, too. Even though I knew
Yeah,
it
I
was
felt like
Tuesday
it.
and it was podcast day.
Podcast day.
The best day of the week.
The best day of the week. All right. Just give me 1 sec. Okay, that's rolling. All right, you guys ready?
Yep.
Born ready.
Born ready. Here we go.
You're listening to Real Crime, the Movie Sleuth podcast.
What's up, everybody?
Good evening.
Hello.
How we doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Yeah? Are we ready?
Ready.
I'm
Ready as
fucking
ever.
Ready.
Awesome. Well, this is episode 113
Jeez.
of Real Crime. We've been doing this for a while now. Kind of crazy. Kind of crazy.
I haven't been on in a while either.
No, you haven't been on in a while.
Like, I don't even think we were in the hundreds last time I was on here.
No, I think you were on a few ago. I'm pretty
Yeah, 'cause
sure.
you were on with me with a couple of the Stephen King ones.
Oh,
and I think
that's right.
My first one was like 10 something.
Oh, okay, cool.
104 maybe?
Yeah,
the Stephen
somewhere
King
around
one
there.
was the last one I was on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a little bit. I think
Mhm.
that was like around episode 108, 109,
okay.
because we skipped quite a few weeks too.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
all right. So let's jump right into it. First thing we want to mention is our sponsors, as usual, Sellerman's. Have you been there yet, Michelle?
I've been to Sellerman's before.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
place is great. So,
And I get their stuff even like if I'm not like actually physically go there. Like I drink their stuff.
yeah, Dana gets their pineapple stuff quite a bit
Yeah, it's
too.
good.
So, yeah, it's really good. I love the raspberry. I can't remember what the name of it is though, but Raspgar, I think.
I still need to get there. Every week I'm tempted by
Yeah.
what I hear. Yeah.
Well, we'll just all have to go as a group one of these
I would
days.
love to. Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of do the party thing. And then of course Flint Institute of Arts, great place, lots of cool stuff there all the time.
Yeah. Somewhere else I need to go. That's a little far from me, but I mean I'm always looking for fun stuff to do.
Yeah,
and-
yeah. Man, we're all so low energy tonight. We need to wake up.
I usually drink a coffee before I come on here.
Yeah.
And then I didn't.
You know,
because I was out. So
I
This is very
usually don't.
unfortunate.
You drink a coffee, and I did, so I think I'm kind of like I'm either coming down of caffeine high, or I'm gonna like jump on one in the middle of it and start talking a mile a minute. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
And then of course projectorscreen.com, great website for lots of home theater stuff. So definitely make sure to check them out too. So in news this week, Scott's not here to say that I got beat up. So
but you did.
but I did. It's been a long few days of a lot of Star Wars news. And today there was an announcement on MTV News, an interview with Kathleen Kennedy of Lucasfilm, announcing that they are working on Knights of the Old Republic, which is pretty big news for Star Wars fans,
Mhm.
because for years a lot of us have wanted to see some other adaptation of that other than the video game.
Yeah, you know what's funny is the only Star Wars game I've ever played and liked was the Knights of the Old Republic. I liked that one, and the second one I thought they were really good. Like I really liked the lore in it and stuff. I was like, man, why isn't Star Wars normally like all this stuff?
And
then-
that's what a lot of people are saying right now. Like, this is the Star Wars we wanted instead of what
Yeah.
you've been giving us for so long.
Are they based
So-
on books or something, or where's that?
You know,
stuff
I'm
come
not really
from?
sure on that, to be honest with you. I'm not really sure. So
But the story in
I
it was
think there
really
was
good.
I think there was a comic book.
Oh, okay.
I think there was a book. I'm trying to remember right now. I could be totally wrong, but I thought there was a book that was connected to it.
So the other Star Wars news obviously was the trailer dropped over the weekend, which was like the biggest shit of the year, other
Mhm.
than Avengers Endgame. People were kind of freaking out over the return of the Emperor. So that's going to be pretty cool.
They're
So,
like, we got to pull something out of the hat to get these fans back in.
yeah. There's
They're all salty after Last Jedi. Throw him a Palpatine.
we hate you. We hate you. But yeah, so they had the Emperor laugh at the end of the trailer. People were kind of aroused by that. So that'll be pretty exciting to see how they twist that. So, all right. And then moving on, Mark Millar has a new comic book coming out, a new science fiction comic book, female-based, called Space Bandits.
Oh.
And it's actually like he's working in partnership with Netflix on it. So I'm imagining they may do an animated series of this also. So kind of cool. Just a little bit different news, not remake or reboot news for once. And then the Minecraft movie is trucking along.
Is that going to be a real thing?
Yeah. It got pushed back again, though.
Is it going to be all blocky looking? Like
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so they just pushed it back to 2022 from 2021.
Wow. So it could be slightly less like, like the Minecraft wagon is passed like 5 years ago.
Right.
So now I guess this 1 year is going to help it out. And it's going to be a little bit less not relevant than.
My kids still play Minecraft.
I mean, I know a lot of people play it, but like I feel like the time period to really jump on the Minecraft movie making thing has passed. But maybe it'll win Oscar. I don't know. I'll be proven wrong.
Minecraft wins an Oscar. Oh my goodness.
Is Fortnite the movie?
Fortnite.
Coming out.
Oh, Fortnite. I'm going to keep saying that over and over again now. Fortnite's my favorite.
A lot of people on the internet call it fork knife.
Yeah. Fork knife?
Mm-hmm. That's like
Why?
Just because it's the internet and they're random.
Because they're idiots. All right. So that's about it for news this week. Really not much going on. In releases this week, Penguins, the new Disney documentary, is coming out. Also, the Conjuring Universe movie, The Curse of La Llorona.
Yeah. Do you ever see those ads for it all the time? It's like Curse of La Llorona. That little deep voice guy. I don't know why it's funny to me. I see that shit so often because I watch a lot of YouTube and I'm like, oh God, it's this cursed chick again.
Yeah. Lots of Conjuring stuff coming up. A lot. And then last but not least this week, one that we saw at South by Southwest over a year ago, Fast Color is being released this week in theaters. Took a while for that.
It did. I was like, is this ever going to get picked up? Because it's really
it's kind of crazy. Took a while. I love that movie though.
Yeah, and I think it's cool because it's kind of low key, but it's also a superhero movie featuring Black women, and it was directed by a woman. So I think it'll be a kind of refreshing change of pace, with all these big bombastic movies coming out. It's kind of more of a character piece.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was actually it was way I had no idea what it was about when we saw it at South by Southwest, and I was like, wow, this is fantastic. And then I just never heard anything else about it after it got shown.
I think when we saw it, we said it was the best X-Men movie we had seen.
Yeah, it's the best X-Men movie that's not X-Men. But it's totally that kind of vibe. It's indie, an indie X-Men movie with Black women in it. And
they didn't really overdo it with the visual effects either.
No, yeah, it's really
very tapered
understated
back.
But yeah, it was really good. Yeah. I hope it gets a little bit of traction out there.
Hopefully it does. I think it'll probably do better on streaming video stuff over time.
I wouldn't be surprised if I thought they'd release it on demand or something at the same time, but I guess it's going to get a little bit of a theatrical run. Yeah.
So suggested viewings this week. I haven't really had time to watch much, but I did on Friday night. I spent some time watching the new Netflix series Black Summer, which is a prequel series to Z Nation, which I've never seen, but people say it's better than The Walking Dead. So I started watching Black Summer. I got about 4 or 5 episodes into it. They're not too long. They're 35 to 40 minutes long each, and every episode just cuts right into the next one. Yeah. And it's really good.
And it's a prequel, so it doesn't matter that you didn't see.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very tense. Really good. A lot of good action in it. and a lot of gore. So I'm going to suggest that you watch that. And I think that Kyle's actually doing a write-up on the first season too. So,
Yeah, he really likes Z Nation too.
yeah.
He's like a big fan of that.
So Michelle, what's your suggested viewing this week?
I also didn't watch a whole lot of stuff because I was trying to catch up on Game of Thrones, which I did after using every spare moment of my life to watch it. I watched a movie tonight that was pretty wild. It's like an old trash movie from 1991 called The Suckling.
Yeah, I saw your post about that.
It is about a couple that they want to go get an abortion, so they go to like a back alley abortion clinic, but the clinic is also, it's like a combination abortion clinic and also like a brothel. So, killing
sense.
2 birds with 1 stone,
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. So obviously this movie's like 100% like just trashy sleaze. So they go to this back alley abortion clinic, and she gets an abortion, and they flush her aborted fetus down the toilet, and then it goes into the sewer, and then like sewer ooze, like the Ninja Turtle ooze, like drops onto the fetus, and then it turns into like a monster fetus, and then it tries to kill everybody in the abortion clinic, and it like has like a big umbilical cord that swings around and chokes people with, and it like can throw placenta attacks, like it could throw the placenta out, and it like locks, and it seals up all the doors in the abortion clinic with placenta, and if you like touch the placenta, it like melts your face. Dude, I was like, what in the hell?
So this is a pro-choice, pro-life movie.
I don't
take it.
know. I'm like, does this like Republicans think happens in abortion clinics? Like, I don't know.
I want to see this.
It was like,
This sounds fun.
it's so trashy, and just like if you explain the premise to somebody, they're like, yeah, I'm out. But it's
I'm
oddly,
in.
yeah, it's oddly the best movie about an aborted fetus monster I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, and the effects were like super legit on the
Mhm.
fucking fetus. Like, it's like they obviously spent all the money on like the fetus costume, and then like everything else is like $4. Like, so, but Vinegar Syndrome just released a restored Blu-ray 2K scan of it. So it's like the best that movie's ever looked if you really care about that movie looking good. But it's a really nice release though. So if you want to watch it for the first time, that's like a perfect way to watch it. If you want to experience The Suckling in all its glory.
Can't forget that name either.
Sounds exciting.
So that was my Tuesday night.
Baby want to suckle?
I want to put that. That's on my watch list. That sounds good.
It was pretty fun, actually.
Even
All
if it's
right.
bad, I probably would still enjoy watching it.
Yeah,
That sounds,
yeah.
I mean, it's not
Entertaining.
good. It's just entertaining. It's definitely. I would not say that movie is good, but it's definitely worth a watch. Like, have like a couple beers first, or little or something.
Yeah.
It's just funny. Like Endgame has like officially like the entire movie has leaked now.
Really?
Yeah. So, well, at least that's what I'm seeing. That the entire movie has leaked online.
That sucks.
I'm
that
not-
means the spoilers are going to be all over the place.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm just staying away.
Those-
I'm not doing it.
You just
We're
got to make
not
it till
watching.
Tuesday. That's all we got to make it till Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday 1:00.
The poor people who bid like thousands of dollars on eBay for
Yeah,
their tickets. There's
All right.
going to be some cases open against some people.
Oh yeah,
For
yeah,
non-payment.
yeah.
For sure.
You know what though? Like they were talking about it last night on a lot of forums, like Reddit and shit. It's not going to affect the box office.
Oh yeah, no.
at all
No.
because most people will want to see it.
You still
in
want
the
to see
theater.
something like that in the
Yeah.
big screen.
Well,
and
the
good
percentage
sound
of
and
people
everything.
that pirate like isn't as high as people would think. Like there's like kind of like the an entry of like have to figure out how to download stuff and and use BitTorrent site and not
Right,
BitTorrent
right.
site, but like there's like a little bit of like you have to know how to use computers to pirate stuff, and it's probably like I'd say like 4 or 5% of the people that watch movies like
Mhm.
are good at pirating.
Yeah.
So the majority of the people are just gonna be like, I'll just go see it in the movies.
Mm.
Like, why would you want to watch a shitty cam of it anyway?
know.
There,
I know.
I mean, not that I ever pirate, but if you do pirate, it's best to do it after the Blu-ray comes out. Just saying. So it's gonna be all shitty cams with some guy walking in front of it, eating his popcorn all and loud and shit.
Yeah.
How'd they even where's
I
it been
kn-
shown?
I know it was shown like in India or something,
Oh, okay.
and it's believed that they got it from there.
Oh, 'cause I
That
was like,
somebody got it for her.
Huh.
Yeah. All right, Mara, what's your suggested viewing this week?
Okay, I'm going a little different this week.
Okay.
I'm suggesting a serial podcast called Under Observation. It's independently made by my friends from Sundown Pictures. It's about a girl who finds out that essentially her parents are not her biological parents. She gets a letter in the mail, kind of hinting that she's adopted, and she goes on a very intense, intriguing journey to find out just exactly where she's from. And it's a thriller. It's about like 6 episodes.
Yeah.
And I think the episodes are about like 10, 15 minutes a piece.
That's
and,
not bad.
it's the first season. It's really fun. Oh, and I also acted in it too. So I'm plugging myself a little
That's
bit.
all right. That's okay.
No, that's okay.
But I mean, not only because I was in it, it's really good. I hope we get to do a second season because it ends on a cliffhanger, and it's really fun.
Where do you guys record it at?
We recorded it in their basement.
Cool.
So it's on Stitch, iTunes, a couple of other of them. If you look up Under Observation.
Cool.
I've never like listened to story podcasts, so it's just like in the old days, like on the radio, it's serial stuff.
Yeah, and they even did like, we did like the sound effects and everything, and like there was a point where like someone was like running away, and so like, we would like run away and come back, so it would sound like, we were doing everything. It was definitely
that's cool.
It was fun to do, and then it was like really fun to like experience the story like as I was doing it, and then like hearing it all put together like episodically. It's
kind of intriguing, the whole editing process and putting all the sounds and effects and stuff in there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so she did a really good job. Lauren, who directed it and wrote it, and it's just go out and listen to it. It's fun.
Yeah.
Sounds
fun. This is fun.
Yeah. This is fun too.
Sometimes. All right. So what are we talking about tonight, Michelle?
Us. The movie Us. Oh, we should preface this with anybody that's watching this right now or listening to it later. There's going to be numerous spoilers for Us, and I would assume Get Out because he's only directed 2 movies. So
yeah,
I haven't seen Get Out.
You haven't seen Get Out?
No, I was. I wanted to before tonight just in case, but I didn't get a chance to.
Well, I'll try not to spoil Get Out then if you haven't seen it. I'm just saying it might come up because it's just the other movie he made. So a lot of people have been comparing Us to Get Out and how they differ and how they're.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to watch it just to see, because I've seen Key and Peele, and I feel like it definitely compares to a lot of stuff on that show.
Yeah,
but
Get Out and Us are 2 totally different things. A lot of people went into Us thinking that they were going to be thematically similar, and they're really not.
I don't know why people thought that, because it's a whole different movie.
Yeah,
he's only had 2 movies. He doesn't have enough to be really like have an auteur kind of a thing going. I mean, he does now because he has more than one, but
he changes it up each time, which is good. Get Out, I think, was more like straight-laced thriller type horror, where this is a little out there, a little more outlandish, I would say. So what do we want to talk about first?
Well, what'd you think of it? What'd you think of Us?
I loved it. I thought it was, my like base guttural reaction is like, it's probably one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. I don't typically like, when I see a horror movie, it doesn't typically like stick with me and like freak me out and make me feel weird, but I was like scared the rest of the day. And like even the next morning I woke up and like I was home alone. Mike was at work already, and I got out of bed and everything was like drawn, all the blinds were drawn and everything, and like I didn't want to open it because I thought I'm gonna see those people in the red jumpsuits like just milling around and trying to do their hands across America thing.
Yeah,
I just felt like creepy.
There was a very strong sense of impending doom throughout the entire movie. Throughout the entire movie. And you just really didn't know what exactly was going to happen.
No.
But I did kind of figure out that twist that was coming pretty early on.
Yeah, I figured it out about halfway through. And then I was like, well, we'll see if that's what he does with it.
Yeah, my husband did, and he whispered to me. He's like, I think I figured it out. I'll let you know at the end. And I was like, okay, I'm like terrified right now. There's nothing for like, I wasn't even thinking about figuring anything out.
Yeah.
Right,
Like,
right.
that first scene at the carnival through the little, or the whole setup scene, I guess, was really scary to me. It was like really scary.
Yeah, it's a fantastic setup. Like just everything about it, the way it was filmed, like the pacing of it was perfect. Like the imagery, just everything about it. I was like, wow, that was just, and then it's just a great setup. And then the music that kicks in is like so fantastic. Like the guy that did the music for this one did the music for Get Out, and he's like really, he has a lot of variety, like in his styles. Like he can do like in Get Out, it was more like this, I want to say almost like this Southern Gothic style of a score. And in this one, it sounded a little bit more like, I don't know, like an old 70s horror movie score, like with the singing and the stuff like that. So he's got a lot of range, I guess.
Yeah, the score stood out to me. I really enjoyed it, and like the soundtrack too.
Yeah,
like the use of pop music was obviously like spot on.
When me and you went to the screening of it, I just remember like that opening scene not the opening scene, but when they're first the boardwalk going like, holy shit, it's the same boardwalk from The Lost Boys.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Shot at the exact same location. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. That's a neat throwback.
And you know what? There are so many just little like throwbacks and homages that like are really subtle, and that like just like hours later and even the next day I was like thinking about stuff, being like, oh, that was kind of like that. Like even from like in the first scene where she's watching TV and it's in the 80s, they show the Goonies, they have Chud. What else was there?
Yeah, because there was like stuff strewn about the room.
I can't remember what else was there, but they both seem to kind of like relate to the story a little bit.
Yeah. I need to see this again because I only saw it the one time, and I've been meaning to go see it again. I just haven't had a chance yet.
I want to see it knowing the twist.
I do
see
too.
If like that changes anything, which I'm sure it does, but I think what I like about Jordan Peele is like he's kind of like our age, sort of. Like how old is he? Like I
think he's like in his mid 40s.
I think he's just turned 40.
Yeah.
We just looked because that's what I thought too.
Because so his influences are like more contemporary, like more people would recognize, the stuff that he is, using as homage. And then I kind of get annoyed online with people that try to call him out for using influences and homage when every director does it. They just don't know the references they're using because they're more obscure.
Yeah.
Like if you watch, like I watched Climax by Gaspar Noé, and he has a whole scene where like he's interviewing like these dancers, and it's on a CRT television, and right next to the television he literally has books and movies stacked, and he said, I just put all my favorite movies and influences and books there.
Of course,
because every director has influences, and like I guess people get on Quentin Tarantino's case for it too, but I feel like they try to undermine Peele by saying, oh, he just made, Get Out was just Stepford Wives, and this is just the Mirror episode from, the Twilight Zone, when like every director does that.
Right.
They all have influences. I don't understand why when he has influences, everybody acts like he's like not creative. It's how you use these influences and put your own stamp on it.
Oh, it's prejudice. Absolutely.
I agree. I mean, I thought that Us was so unique. So unique. He took a lot. He pretty much took your expectations of a horror movie and kind of threw them out the window, but still gave you the essence of what's horror. I mean, the only thing I could really compare it to is like a slasher film, but even the rules of like a slasher film aren't there.
Yeah.
There was no downtime.
Well,
there was no safe moment for them, really. And you never like, you just didn't know.
A lot of time in a slasher film, you get an explanation of what's happening. Why is this person coming back to life again? Or how is he coming back to life again? Or it's a supernatural power. Or no, there's no supernatural power. He's possessed. With Us, it's just, this is the story. Accept it for what it is.
Yep.
I don't have to tell you exactly what happened or why it happened. We're never really told why there's duplicates of them.
No.
Are we?
Yeah. No.
It's
'cause
just
they're just are.
She just says,
they just
I
are.
guess, like I think she says something like, I guess a human did this, but we don't know when it started. So
Right.
it's like, that's the only explanation you get.
So is this like something based in the realm of we all have a duplicate somewhere on the planet?
Well, that's like a pretty old, like, trope. It's just like the evil version of you, like, Spock's
Right.
got the little fucking evil Spock has a little beard and shit. Like, it's like a
Yeah.
pretty old trope,
Mhm.
that there's like evil opposite version, mirror version of you. But like, I think what makes this movie different in using that trope is that the mirror image people, like, are people, though. Like, he makes you want to empathize with them a little.
Mhm.
Like in any other movie, the evil person is just evil you and they try to kill you at the end. Like, but in this movie, like, are they evil because they're evil, or are they evil because they've been subjugated and now
Right.
they're fighting back? Like if you right when they're all the families in the house and then the tethered people come, they're opposites, they're clones or whatever. Like, she sits them down and is like, look, I've had a shit life. Every time you had something good, I had to eat shit,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and for what? Like, they didn't deserve to be treated like that. They were just born underground, or however they're made.
Mhm.
Like, they were put into a situation that they didn't deserve. And then she's like, so you're thinking like, well, they kind of have motivation for the way they are, which is like more than another movie, I guess, would give a monster like that, or like
Yeah.
Mhm.
a threat, I guess.
Mhm.
They just exist.
Yes.
And I
Mhm.
kind of like that,
Right.
because I like letting my mind wander a
Mhm.
little bit and think about things instead of just being like, oh, this is why, this is how. Instead, he just kind of put it out there. Like, yeah, they're like exact physical duplicates.
Yeah. I think he actually explained it a little too much. In the third act, I think he should have been even more ambiguous with it, because if you give the little bit he tried to have her explain it at the end, just makes people want to, like, well, how do the rabbits eat, and where did
Right,
they
right.
like think too much into which, like, I don't know. I guess I wish he would have just not explained them at all and just had the tethered be downer and not have any explanation for them at all, and
I
just
can see that.
and just be there. So if there's none, then everybody can be like, oh, make up their own thing.
Mhm.
But if you give a little bit, then people want to go that makes them want to go the extra mile to, like, put all the pieces together, and they don't fit all
Right.
together. Because if you, like, sit down and really just, like, hash out the tethered and, like, how they operate, like, it doesn't make sense if you just sit down with it, like, and pick it apart. But it's not meant to be seen like that. It's like a thematic thing. It's not
Mhm.
supposed to be, like, literal, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just meant to scare the shit out of you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it does.
Because
Yeah.
the unknown is scarier than the known.
Of course. And that touches on something else I liked about it, because you can look at it and try to kind of be like, what does he mean? Like, what's he talking about? We have doubles, there's this underground, and these people don't really have, like, free will. Like, what's he talking about? And there's a lot of things that you can, like, kind of discuss and analyze. But if you don't want to, you can just, like, watch it and just, like, be scared shitless
Yeah.
and just experience it. And that's, like, to me, that's, like, the best art. The ones that you can just do either one with.
Yeah. And I think everybody, after Get Out, they were expecting him to. He became the social commentary horror guy, which I don't. He made one movie, like, that's the one movie. That's what that happened to be about. And then so, like, he kind of got typecast. Everybody's like, oh, he makes the social movie.
Right. And then he's on the Twilight Zone
Yeah.
too.
Mhm.
You
But
know?
when honestly, Peele just makes movies. I don't think he necessarily is, like, always trying to make a political statement. And I think you can read
Right.
Us like one, kind of,
Mhm.
but not as much racially. I don't think it's more like class structure
Yeah.
to me,
Mm-hmm.
like low class, high class, and capitalism and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. You can, like, read it that way. But I think what I do like is that he makes movies and puts Black people in the movie, but it doesn't have to be about them being Black. It's
Mhm.
just diverse.
Mhm.
Like, every movie that has a Black person in it doesn't need to be about the Black struggle and all that. Like,
No,
it
it just-
can be. Like, Get Out absolutely was
Mhm.
about that. Like,
Absolutely.
100% is, like, that's why he made it. But Us is more like he just has black people in a horror movie, but they have all these different variety of roles that they can play now.
Well,
they're
like,
not shoved into these tropes. He just has black people in his movie. Like,
I just looked at the movie as this is a family on vacation.
Yep.
And he's excited that he got this cheap ass boat. You know, like, I mean,
Yeah.
they're just enjoying themselves on vacation. It had nothing to do with them being a black family. They're like a upper middle class family going on vacation and going to the beach. You know, I think.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. I like that he just makes movies with black people in them, but that doesn't necessarily have to be like about blackness itself. You know, and I know he caught a lot of heat because he said he wasn't gonna make movies with a white protagonist. Is that what he says? He said something.
He said he doesn't see himself casting a white male lead in one of his movies.
All right. So, you know, everybody pooped their pants about that.
We got enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one's
Every
gonna
other
lose
movie.
out. Like, it's enough space.
The pushback he gets like in the horror community just blows my mind. Like I'm in a lot of horror groups and stuff, and anytime he comes up, it's like instant hate on him. I just don't understand it. Like,
I
at
don't
all.
either. I mean, yeah.
They're so scared of like different voices in horror, like different people making movies. Like, let a black guy make horror about black people. What's the big damn deal? You have like 900 movies about white people in horror. Like, let a
Almost
woman
every
make a movie.
one.
Yeah,
Almost every
know.
single one.
I know. That's why it's just so shocking to me that it's like, what are you threatened by? It's like,
they're so threatened though. They're
no
so
one's gonna
upset.
take your favorite movie away from you. Like no
God.
one's taking anything away.
No,
by
they're adding.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I, for one, I like that we're getting this more cultured aspect to horror. I think it's great. Let's make a horror movie about a gay family. Two dads, two moms, whatever. We've never had that. What's the big deal? Like, literally, it's a mom and a dad and their two kids going on vacation and all hell breaks loose. Not a big deal at all.
No,
Yeah.
and
At
like
all.
I
Get
think
over it, people.
the horror fans are pretty diverse, so it's like you want to see yourself, you know?
You're like a reflection of your own self
Yeah.
in this story.
Yeah.
I don't understand. And people were melting down.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's racist.
Yeah, I was
What?
like,
But
and also like he had white people in his movies. Like, there's a whole white family in Us,
right.
and you know, and it's never made like a thing like they're white or anything. They're just friends are white. Like,
Well, and he's married to a white woman too. So
I'm pretty sure he's
I think we can
mixed, too.
throw that one
Yeah,
out.
his mother is white.
yeah,
Yeah. So he's, you know, I mean, I think the white characters were like kind of a little bit like of like a comedy, I guess, effect. But I mean,
They're comic relief.
the whole movie, everyone was comic relief at one point. Everyone had their lines and everything.
Yeah.
I think they were a little douchey and like acted pretty stereotypically white, but it's like, that's funny.
And it's
That's-
okay.
It is okay.
You know, I always say this to people, and sometimes I get the eye, but stereotypes exist for a reason. And that reason is they actually exist. They do.
Well, it's like
They actually do exist.
it's an easy way to, you know, write something and to just kind of have it be what it is. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, they were fun to laugh at.
yeah.
I didn't feel as bad when they got killed, which is something that I think is important when I watch a horror movie. If I'm going to be watching, you know, a bunch of, you know, really brutal, violent murders,
Yeah.
I don't want to have all this like, you know, three-dimensional character development and, you know, relationship building, and then all of a sudden I'm like watching them be brutalized. I'd rather them be like douchey stereotypes who
That deserve
I
to
don't
die.
care about. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You deserve what just happened.
She's like, you know, being like, oh, I got plastic surgery. Oh,
Yeah.
not like you need any. And it's like, yeah.
Black
bitch.
don't crack.
Yeah.
It's true. I'm 100.
I'm 137 years old.
But can we talk about like Tim Heidecker and like he's like really good in this?
Yeah,
He
he
needs
is.
to be
Yeah,
in
he
more
is.
horror movies. He was like so good in it. I was like, the hell?
They were all good.
Yeah.
Every person.
I think that happens a lot though when you put an actor that's typically doing comedy or drama and then you translate them into or transpose them into a different type of film, usually they stand out like that.
Yeah.
Because number one, you're
Mhm.
not used to seeing it,
Mhm.
but then they can put that comedic talent. I mean, because
Mhm.
his role in this, even though it was terrifying,
Yeah.
it was
Still pretty
loaded
funny.
with humor.
I'm not a, I know about Tim and Eric, but I'm not like a huge fan. I didn't realize it was him until afterwards. My husband
Yeah.
told me, and I was like, oh, that was that
Yeah.
guy? Oh,
He was great. He was great.
yeah.
Lupita was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, she was.
I've never like really thought of her as like menacing, like as a menacing persona.
Yeah.
And she's so perfect as like Red, and that voice
Oh,
that she did. I was like,
creepy.
what the hell is this? Like everything about this movie is just so slightly off that like everything's off-putting all the time. Just people don't act right. Everything they say sounds weird. Why do you think her voice was like that?
I don't know, because that was weird. I was trying to figure that out too,
I'm not sure.
because it seemed like everyone else didn't talk, because
Yeah.
the I forgot what the bottom guy's her husband, what his name was, but he would just grunt.
Mm-hmm.
And I think so did the doppelganger of Tim too. They just grunted.
I don't
Or
think
they
anybody
yelled.
talked.
But she did, because she was obviously.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just a grunty voice from, maybe she didn't really talk a lot.
Yeah,
Because
maybe she
sometimes
didn't
when you
talk
don't
at all,
use your
yeah.
voice, if she has nobody to talk to when
That's
she's
true.
underground, she has nobody to really communicate with other than grunts. Your voice is going to sound untrained and
Mhm.
terrifying
Yeah.
when you come
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And she's been there since she was a child.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because how old do you think she was then? Like 5 maybe?
Yeah.
She was really
I think
little.
5. I think
Yeah.
5. What a cute little
So-
kid, though, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was.
She was
she
really
was.
cute. The kids in this movie,
They were
the
great.
were
kids in this
great.
movie were fantastic.
The- The teenage girl, loved her.
Mm-hmm.
She really stole the show for me, and especially as her what are they called? I want to call them like Morlocks.
Oh,
Like
the
from
tethered.
Time Machine. The tethered. Okay.
I was totally thinking about Morlocks too, though. I was like, damn, Storm down there or something. They're totally Morlocks. He's probably thinking about that. He's a nerd. Jordan Peele's a nerd. He's probably thinking of that.
Well, I especially thought too, like you couldn't tell like who they were, what they looked like at first
Yeah.
when they were crowding around the house, and then like they were like shooting by in the window, and the boy came by with his mask on, and it
Mhm.
was like the white mask with like darkened eyes, and I like thought for a second that's what that was.
Mhm.
Like he didn't have a mask on, like
Yeah.
he had some like super pale face,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh wow, okay. But then I noticed that he had the mask on, so I thought that was maybe a reference too.
And
The
the,
other-
li- and the little kid was called Pluto, I think.
I think so. The other thing I did notice about this movie too is Get Out had a few kind of violent moments towards the end, but this movie, he really amped up
Mm-hmm.
the amount of violence. It was way more
Yeah.
than
Mhm.
anything. Oh, I forgot you didn't see Get Out yet. So, but yeah, it's way, there's a lot more violence in this
Mhm.
than the last one.
But also, I think, there's like a lot of like surreal kind of like dream logic stuff going on. And that's in Get Out, but like a little bit. And I feel like he kind of like started leaning into this more artsy kind of aesthetic. And like, I don't know. Like, I think Get Out is better as a better movie. It's like tighter. It's got a way better script. It's
The
just
narrative is tighter.
I think because he was working on it forever. Like you could tell, like he worked on Get Out for. I think he said he worked on it for 10 years or something.
Wow.
So I mean, it's like an airtight script. Like that movie's like just pitch perfect every second, every foreshadowing, all the imagery, all the symbolism is like just on every 2nd of that movie. Like this movie is a lot messier to me, a little less focused, but I like that it's ambitious, and I like that he did something different, and I like that he didn't feel like he had to be like pigeonholed into making certain types of movies, And I also hope he doesn't always make horror movies too. I hope he doesn't get like typecast as being the horror guy. I'd like to see him, branch out and try other things, because I really like his voice. I like his style. It's interesting, different. Even though he uses iconography that we recognize, he remixes it. Like I got 5 on it. Like that song for one. So he took some old hip hop song. I think that came out like mid 90s, maybe late 90s.
Yeah, I think late 90s.
So he takes, I Got Five on it, and he made it into like this symphonic horror like
Yeah.
thing, and it was amazing.
Yeah, I know, that's cool.
That whole part, I was like, wow, like that's what he does. He takes these things that he liked as a younger person, and he like remixes them and weaves them into like these new forms.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, even the fact that the boy's wearing the Jaws shirt through the whole movie.
The Black Flag shirts that keep showing up
Yeah.
because they have the what was that
11/11.
yeah, 11/11.
I couldn't. That's funny because I was like, "What does that mean? What does that mean?" And that's something my husband figured out too. He was like, "Well, the 11/11," and I was like, "Oh."
Oh yeah.
But there was also some foreshadowing I noticed. The first thing that pops off the top of my head is the ambulance where he would wedge it in between the door, but then they got away in the ambulance in the end, kind of foreshadowing that. I gotta see it again. The second that they revealed the twist, I was like, if I was at home, I would just be rewinding. I'd be like, we got to start this over. So I can't wait to see it again.
Those are the best movies, though. The ones that you are like, I need to see this again, and then I got to watch it again.
Yeah.
Because like this will be a day one Blu-ray purchase for me. I will watch it that night.
Sure.
Kind of interested to see what kind of special features are on there too.
Oh, that'll be fun.
I'm
This
losing
is
my
this
voice.
is probably a soundtrack I would buy too.
Yeah,
If they
soundtrack
released
was
the
great.
score soundtrack.
I was trying to find like just on YouTube so I could listen to it more, like the symphonic I Got Five on it. Oh, isn't there 5 family members?
No, 4.
Those are
4.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
Yeah.
I was like, dang.
Yeah, it was just the mom and dad though.
Yeah.
Those little kids though, when they go in attack mode, like I mean, the whole anytime the actual violence is taking place, it is so fucking brutal.
Yeah, it's visceral. It's good.
Like when they're at their friend's house,
Yeah.
and shit starts going off the wall.
Yep.
I mean, that's like it just straight up old school gory horror, which is
She's got the fire poker.
oh
I
yeah,
love that.
she's got that for a while too,
Yep.
doesn't she?
And I love when she's like, I'm driving. She's like, I have the highest kill count in the family.
Yeah.
As we saw it with like a really rowdy audience, and I know people don't like that, but it was so fun. Like everybody was super into it
Yeah.
and just yelling and shit. And like I was like, that's what movies are for
I
get people
agree.
fucking excited about
Yeah,
stuff.
to go and get into them. I
Yeah.
would like to see it though without the rowdy
Yeah.
crowd.
This
just
crowd was fucking rowdy.
Yeah, they were yelling and screaming.
It was
and,
awesome.
Yeah.
It made it fun to
When
me.
I saw it, there was a rowdy crowd too.
Yeah.
Everyone was laughing and
Yeah.
screaming too, and like shouting stuff out, and it was fun.
So you saw it this weekend.
Yeah.
Was there still a decent crowd there for it?
It wasn't sold out, but I mean, there were people there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because you would think this would have died out a lot. It's like what 3 or 4 weeks ago it came out.
Yeah, Peele's got a lot of clout though. Now he like after he won that Oscar, and he's got a lot of pull, which is good. I like that that's the way he's going.
So what do we think the whole meaning of the Hands Across America thing was? Do you think just
Well, they show it in the beginning of the movie, the Hands Across America like commercial.
yeah.
And then so the Hands Across America was back in the 80s. It was a fundraiser to stop poverty.
Right.
So the imagery of the people holding the hands to stop poverty. So basically, like the tethered or the poor people, like they're like the lower class
You're
people.
right.
So like it's kind of like interesting, like the tethered mirror what's going on the surface, right? So they're doing the same actions as the people on the surface, but they're not getting any of the benefits. Just like there's people in real life that due to their class situation, like there's people that work 40 hours a week at McDonald's, and there's people that work 40 hours a week somewhere else, and they're doing work. They're both doing 40 hours of work, but one person like can barely eat every week, and the other person's got a lot, which is capitalism in a nutshell, right?
Yeah.
So the tethered, like that's why they have the scissors and stuff. So like they want to cut themselves away. They want to be their own people. They want to do their own thing. So that's like the Hands Across America is like the tethered basically represent poor people or lower class people. That's how I got what I got from it.
That makes sense. Yeah.
There were a lot of them, though.
Yeah. Well, everybody.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
theoretically, everybody has a tethered, right? And in the beginning of the movie, they talk about like there's all these underground, like sewers and stuff, like just
Scary.
infinite
That's
amount.
scary.
Yeah. So,
it really exists.
so I like when they come out and everybody's dead because all the tethered came up and everybody has a tethered.
Mhm.
So everybody does. So like basically, there's like an inverted Earth. Like there's like an Earth underneath the ground where just everybody has tethers. And then she's the first, and the only reason the tethered even coming up is because somebody that wasn't a tethered got stolen and switched and put down, and that's why she's the leader. It's not because she's like, cares really. She just cares
Right.
about herself. I mean, yeah, it sucks what happened to her, but that's what like blows my mind the most about like them being swapped was like it makes the entire time you've been rooting for the wrong person, the whole fucking movie.
Yeah.
That's what's
Yeah.
great about that twist is that the protagonist, you've been rooting for her, but she's the one that's shitty and switched them. But is she
Yeah.
shitty for switching
I
them?
know that's the thing. Is like, who should you be rooting for? It's really weird
Yeah.
because she is the one who wanted. I mean, she could have just been left behind, but she wasn't. So you feel happy for her that she got out of it. But then,
But then you're like, oh, the other one got left behind.
Yeah.
And was kind of trapped with this.
yeah, she didn't deserve it either. It's
Yeah.
like yeah,
Well, that's the whole point.
It's
Is
a mind
nobody
work.
deserves
Okay.
to be
Right.
treated like that.
exactly.
Okay, so now I get see, thinking about this in context, now I get the voice thing even more. Nobody down there talks. They don't really have a way to speak.
Mhm.
But she was from up there,
Mhm.
got swapped, so she talked before she ever even got down there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's the reason, number one, she's the only one that talks,
Mhm.
but then she's not using it because she's probably afraid.
Yeah.
She probably doesn't want to use her voice
Mhm.
Mhm.
in front of these people
Yeah.
because they might freak out and be like, hey,
Yeah.
she like infiltrated us.
Well, she ends up getting people's confidence by dance, right? Is that what she says?
Yeah.
That was why I want to watch it. And I was
So-
like getting so confused.
So when she was dancing so she went that. So wait. so she was the actual good dancer, and she got taken underground. So when the girl on the top was won all the ballet stuff, that was actually her controlling her.
Yeah, that's what's blowing my mind. I don't know. I'm confused because I was thinking like, who's the dancer? Because
Yeah.
they said too, she's not talking. You got to get her to do something. And they mentioned dance. So
Mhm.
I thought, is that what happened? Like
Yeah.
they got her to dance, and then somehow that awoken something in the bot. Yeah, it's so weird.
I also think maybe some tethered can be controlled more than other tethered, because it seemed like the little kid and Pluto, they established early on that Pluto mirrors what he does,
Right.
Mhm.
but we're in reverse because it's mirror image stuff. So that's why he walks him back into the
Mhm.
fire. Like, but the other tethered don't kind of act like that. So it's like maybe you have to like if you know that you can control them that way, you can
Mhm.
like use that to your advantage, I guess.
Yeah, the dad showed that too because he put his glasses up, and then his mirror guy just like touched his face.
Oh,
I caught that. That was
Yeah.
like the first thing I was like, oh, are they mirroring each other? Like that's when I first put that together. But yeah. And then he puts his glasses on.
yeah,
Oh, and I felt so bad. He kept hitting him in the leg with that bat.
yeah.
I was like feeling that. Oh my God.
Ow, ow.
And he grabs it and yanks it.
In the beginning, Kyle told me about this one. He said that one of the kids was eating Fruit Loops with no milk, like Rose does
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Get Out. I just thought that was a funny little
Little-
Easter egg.
Little duplicate stuff going
Yeah.
on. Yeah. I need to watch this like 10 more times now.
Totally.
Because there is
Easy.
always going to be little things you're going
Mhm.
to pick out
Mhm.
in this. Absolutely.
I mean, I think a lot of people that like Get Out so tightly woven together, and like it's also very straightforward. Once you know Get Out, what it's about, when you rewatch it, you're like, oh yeah, this leads to this, leads to this, leads to this. Us doesn't do that, and I think a lot of people don't like that in their movies. They like to be told what every single thing means. They don't like ambiguity. They don't like having to fill in blanks. And I think that's why people maybe didn't react as positively to us as they did to Get Out, because they were expecting more of the same. And
Straight narrative,
yeah,
just
and
a story.
You might be right. You might be right.
and us is
I think so.
very little. It's teetering on art housey a little bit. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very subversive too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
It doesn't just say, okay, this is exactly what's going on right now and explain everything to you.
yeah,
From like the first frames, you're
Mhm.
kind of you got no training wheels. You're just
Yeah.
off, which I loved. Like I was like engrossed right away, and like I think within the first 5 minutes, I was like, okay, I like this movie. That was all I needed. I knew I was like, no matter how this ends, I'm gonna like this movie.
It is funny though, too, when you look on like social media, Facebook, Instagram, blah, 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 any kind of message board, Reddit, how divisive this has
Mhm.
been.
yeah,
This is like the Last Jedi of horror movies.
yeah.
People are like, oh, I fuck that movie. I hate that movie.
Mhm.
That was the worst ever. And then you got people like us who are like, no, I really, really enjoyed it because it wasn't straight
Yeah.
laced.
I mean, it's got flaws to it. I feel like the internet kind of is too binary now with opinions on things. Like it's either the worst thing that's ever happened, like worse than Hitler,
Mhm.
or it's the greatest thing that's ever been invented in the history of movies. So like there's no in between of criticism where you're like, hey, a lot of these things worked and I liked it and I even loved it, but I have some issues with
Mhm.
some of it because
Yeah.
I think there are issues with us. I think it's paced weird. I think the second act's way too long. And I feel like the third act also goes on a little bit too long. I honestly think you could trim probably like 20 minutes off that movie. I think
I'd say 15.
yeah, but the humor,
Towards the end, I think. I
yes,
agree.
Yeah.
I feel like it drags on way too much
Yeah.
at the end too. Like it just needs to be. I think the second act needs to be condensed a little bit. But I can say these things and still say I love that movie because I
Right.
do. You can love something and like point out it has issues. But people online, like, they don't know how to do that anymore. They don't know how to say I like a thing, but here are things I didn't like, but overall I still liked it. Now it's like if you love something, you have to have like literally no negative criticism on it
I know,
whatsoever,
yeah.
or you don't apparently like it. So I feel I wish people would be a little bit more nuanced when they're critiquing something, and not
Mhm.
just be like binary, it's shit, or like fucking Jesus, teabag my
Yeah.
face. This is what there's like an in between here.
Jesus teabagged my face with Jordan Peele's Us.
That's gonna be our new rating system. It's gonna be just a big pile of poop and Jesus teabagging my face. So
Yeah.
that's what
Teabag, no teabag.
That's what Rotten Tomatoes should change it to.
Teabag, no teabag.
Teabag, no teabag.
Wow, I had like one more point to make, but just the thought of the Jesus tea bag totally wiped my mind clean.
Jesus has got something to show to your face.
Oh boy, I wish I could remember what I was gonna say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I messed up everything. I'm sorry.
It's worth
I was trying to think
You
of
and
the
your
two
teabag.
silliest things like to use for ratings.
Teabag, no teabag.
Okay, I remember what I was gonna say. I was honestly so in like awe of it and like just experiencing it that I don't even know if there's like, I'm sure if I watched it again I might be like, yeah, there's problems here, there, whatever. But as I was watching it, I was like, honestly, this doesn't happen to me like ever. But I was legit scared sitting there. So I wasn't like thinking like, oh, this isn't working or this is working. I mean, as far as like it being horror, it worked.
For sure.
Well, and I think for us, I mean, I'll be honest, the three of us and a lot of people from the site, Scott, Andrea, Tasha, we watch a lot of horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
So we get dragged through the mud with a lot of shit, especially those screeners. You don't have to watch, you don't watch them that much. So,
Yeah, thank God.
Yes.
I used
But-
to though.
some of those horror screeners, they're hard to get through. So when you see something that's exciting or different like us, that doesn't just take all the standard tropes and throw them in your face repeatedly,
Mhm.
it is kind of refreshing
It
and kind of
stands out.
nice.
Yeah.
It stands out and you're like, oh, somebody actually thought of something new.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Finally.
That's why you get a lot of those movies where the critic score is high and the audience score is low, because critics are like, oh my God, something new. I've just like, because critics watch like fucking hundreds of movies every year,
Mhm.
and I'm not trying to slight anybody on anything. I'm just saying how it is. Critics watch more movies than normal moviegoers. So critics watched 100 movies this year, and average moviegoers seen like 5, right? So like 100 guys like, Jesus, I've seen this thing like 4,000 times before. So he's like over it, and the guy has seen 5 movies. It's like, oh, this is new to me,
Right.
Or if it's too different, then they feel like they wasted their money. That's another thing. I think people sometimes that don't have movies as like a super huge hobby. They just go to movies for escapism. They want things to go a certain way.
Right.
It's expensive to go to the movie. It's like $15. If you get popcorn, you can get like $20. So you sit down at your popcorn and you want to be thrilled and chilled and romanced, and the good guy wins at the end. Yay! That's what you want if you go to movies for escapism. And then if you go to a weird art house movie where it's sad and everybody dies and it's depressing and it's weird and arty and like all out of order and you have to like think really hard about it and it's like too much shit, then you're like, I wasted $20, and then you're like, fucking.
Yeah, and then they go home and give it that thumbs down.
They give the doo-doo. So I think that's just kind of like what happened with us. Like some people were expecting something a little straightforward, and then they didn't get it, and then they were like, kind of like, I don't know, they just felt cheated maybe, or they just were like, what the heck is this stuff,
Yeah.
I mean, it still did really well. It was like the biggest horror opening of all time, which I guess doesn't really qualify anything because people were going to see it no matter what.
Right.
But it did have pretty good early reactions across the board. It didn't have really bad early reviews either.
Yeah.
But again, that comes into that whole critical mindset versus just going for fun thing.
I mean, critics like are people too. Like all of us, we're just regular people. We just watch a lot of movies. That's the only difference. We just watch more movies. But so when I watched Us, like I wasn't sitting there the whole time just like picking it apart. Like when I watch movies, normally I don't do that unless the movie's really bad. If I start my mind starts wandering because the movie's bad, then I'll start picking shit apart. But Us, I never felt like that. The whole time I was watching, I was just like, oh. And then when I sat down to write my review, then I started thinking back like, oh, this. But I didn't think that while I was watching it. So that's always a sign of at least an entertaining or intriguing movie, is if I'm not picking it apart while I'm watching it, because I don't have time to. My brain's too into like what's going on,
And this is exactly why I stopped taking a notepad to movies.
Yeah.
Because when I first started writing reviews, if I was going to a screening or whatnot, I would take a little notepad with me and jot stuff down. I stopped doing that because I found that I was picking the movie apart as I was watching it. I was taking notes. I'd rather just watch the entire thing and then on the ride home or for the next couple days kind of stew on it before taking a dump on something.
Yeah, well, that's how I like to do it. I like to get just the full blast of the movie, like the full feel, just get as the guy intended. I mean, when they make a movie, they don't make a movie intended for you to sit there and take notes while you're watching it. They want you to lose yourself inside the movie and experience what they made, and then afterwards, you can kind of mull over it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see there's some people I know that some critics, they note take, and I'm like, how you do that? Right?
I used to do that. Like when I was in school, I would do that when I was watching movies for class. I would, I'd get nervous because I'd be like, this is for a grade, I got to do this. And then I would get like totally lost in my note taking, and I'd write weird things, and I'd be like, what the hell does this mean? And when you abandon it, you come up with more like better things to say, I think.
I think it's easier to get like a thematic reading of a movie if you don't take notes. Yeah. Which is how I like to review films. I'm less on the technical aspects of movies and more like, what was the director trying to say to me? Like with this movie, like what was his intent, and was his intent successful? Like the technical stuff, like, you can always tell like film students and stuff, like they're like, he used this type of camera and I didn't like the lighting in scene 7, and it's like, okay, but I could nitpick that shit all day. Who cares about that?
I want the context of the story.
Yeah, but how did the movie make me feel? Like how did like the director's vision come out to me? Like that's what I want. That's why I read in other reviews. I like to read reviews of people that are like dissecting what the movie meant and like stuff. I don't really like highly technical pick apart reviews. You know,
those don't tell you anything. If
Yeah.
you want to know if you should watch a movie,
yeah,
it doesn't tell you anything.
yeah, because most 9 out of 10 people don't notice that
Right.
anyway. You know, and even if they do, it usually doesn't impede anything. They're just like, oh, you
Yeah.
know.
If you want to read a really good review, read my review of Hellboy.
Man, that movie's getting pooped on really
Oh
bad.
man,
Mhm.
it's so bad. It's so bad.
I'm gonna get a big beer at the theater and go see it, like on a cheap day when it's like $5.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible.
I was sad because I like Hellboy, so
But this
I'm hoping
kind
it
of
has at least trash like enjoyment.
no, it doesn't. It really doesn't.
Like Venom had trash enjoyment to me. Everybody
Yeah.
hated Venom, but like Venom has such a fun performance in it. Like I was like,
A lot of people really liked Venom though too.
yeah. Venom got really bad reviews, but I thought it was kind of fun to be honest.
I didn't like it at all, but I will buy the Blu-ray at some point and watch it again, like when it's like $4.99
Yeah.
at Family Video or
That's
something.
when I get everything.
Yeah. But my point was, you know, like Get Out is the kind of movie you can like sit there and stew on. Hellboy, it was just total shit.
Yeah.
There's no thinking involved. It was just grand poop.
And even movies like, you know, people will say you gotta turn your brain off. But I feel like there's
Mm-mm.
even a successful way to make a turn your brain off movie
Totally,
that's
I
still
agree.
like good.
Yeah.
Like I don't mean like turn your brain off like literally nothing matters in the whole movie and you shouldn't care. Like I'm trying to think like
Tucker and Dale.
Yeah.
It's a great example.
It's
Have
like,
you seen Tucker and
I
Dale versus
haven't,
Evil?
no.
man, you'd like that movie.
You
know,
would
I just
love
got
that.
recommended that movie the other day
Yeah.
by a friend.
But
Yeah.
that's a good turn your brain off movie, and you can enjoy all the satire and
Yeah.
comedy, and it's really smart. The comedy
Mhm.
in this movie, the way it just spins all the horror tropes.
Mhm.
So yeah, and Us kind of does that too. It's not really that funny. I mean, it is in parts,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but it's a very smart film.
I think it
overall.
makes it scarier when parts are funny. Like there's just really good contrast. Like Peele's so good at like weaving comedy in the horror. It's
Mhm.
very hard to do right, and he does it
He
in
does.
this movie.
I think it makes it more scary because you're you're relating more to these people, and it's making it realistic because people do say funny things in
Mhm.
situations, and some people like don't lose their sense of humor. They might even get like more goofy in a situation like
Yeah.
that because they're trying to deal with it. So yeah, I
Oh
agree.
yeah, when I get stressed, if I had that shit going on, I would just be making jokes the entire time.
Like sick jokes. I mean,
Yeah.
there's the whole like the Freudian joke, you know, the story about the guys in war and like the guy gets blown away and the like corpse is laying there and they just keep like making jokes about the corpse the whole time. And it's like they get out of war and they're like, yeah, that was sick that we did that, but like we had to, so we wouldn't go insane dealing with that like
Yeah.
horrible thing.
Yeah.
So it works. And I mean, I kind of went back and revisited Key and Peele because I loved that show when it was on. Did either of you, both of you, watch it?
I did not
Yeah.
really watch it.
Yeah, I used to watch it.
And one of the things I had noted when it was on is how many of the skits are like actually like horrific and
Yes.
like really, really fucking violent.
Yes.
And so when I had heard that he was, you know, had done a thriller and then a horror movie, I was like, well, he's going to do a good job on this. It's going to work. And it did. It had that very similar sensibility of the, you know, being creepy, but, you know, having it have a sense of humor and have his personality. It really came through.
Honestly, I think maybe this is a bad comparison, but between these two movies, I think the director I can compare him the most to, and I know we don't really like to make a lot of comparisons, but really it is very, and I hate that, oh, he's the next this, he's the next that, but very reminiscent of Spielberg, because Spielberg can do so many different things, and this guy is doing it. Like he's doing the Twilight Zone, but he had a comedy show, and then he did Get Out, which was more of a cultural statement, and then he goes more straight-laced, weird horror with this. I think it will be interesting to see what is next.
Yeah.
Hopefully he doesn't do horror next.
Yeah, you know, I think he could do a lot of different things, and it'd be interesting to see him do something like you mentioned Spielberg, like maybe more Spielbergish, like about, you know, like not a horror, but maybe like a coming of age story about like,
Straight
kids or
sci-fi.
something. Or sci-fi would be cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think he could do it. I really do.
You can do anything, man.
And I think he's just finding his voice,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and he's already got two. Like he has like one, like I think Get Out is a straight masterpiece, to be honest. I've seen Get Out probably like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah, me too.
It's absolutely fucking airtight masterpiece movie. And then, you know, in his sophomore effort it was still pretty dang good, and it was ambitious, which I liked, and it was, you know, it was weird and interesting and intriguing. So, you know, I feel like he's got a good road ahead of him. And interestingly enough, like, you know, Get Out opened the doors for so many other like people of color to like get stuff funded and like produced. And I was watching this documentary called Horror Noir on Shudder, which was about black horror. And they talked, and they have like kind of a, they have an interview with Jordan Peele in it, and then they talked to some other actors, and they were saying that people were actually changing scripts they had to from white people to black people because they wanted to like ride the Get Out like train of like how they were like talking. They were basically like, dude, Jordan Peele opened so many doors for black actors and black scripts. It was like insane. And he like has his own company, I think, his own production company. Yeah. So, you know, like, I know I was trying to like say like, oh, his new movie's not as culturally significant, but like just his voice is culturally significant, and it's opening up doors for other people that they were like, oh, hey, a black director can be successful, and you can make a successful black-led horror movie and it not be full of like tropes and stuff, you know, like you can just have a horror movie with black people in it, and it's like, and it makes money, and us made money. Us didn't bomb or anything.
Oh no, I mean, we did phenomenal.
Yeah,
that's pretty much all they care about too, if they can make money.
Yep.
So
I think that's just another good like windfall from Peele, you know, breaking out with Get Out, is that it opens doors for other smaller people that have been trying to get shit made for years, and they couldn't because they were like, oh, it's too niche or whatever, you know. So now,
and now the studios are like looking for that next thing.
Yeah.
What's the next thing?
What's the next Get Out? You know,
Indian horror. It's already there.
I was gonna say I don't know if I've seen any Indian.
Yeah, we actually reviewed one a few weeks ago.
What was it called?
Rakash.
Interesting.
Tasha reviewed it.
Oh, didn't that person make other stuff too, or was it that the same one?
I think this was a different person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But you know, you're seeing that now. Horror is kind of getting into different cultures, different people making it, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, it goes through like little phases too, because you know, early 2000s J horror was like super big because The Ring.
Ugh.
And like all those other Japanese horror movies were like storming the place. And then for a little while it was Korean horror. Then you had the new French Extremity that was like in the mid 2000s. So it goes, so it goes like in all these like little cycles. So I'm hoping maybe black-led horror will be another cycle that we'll go through, and we can see more of that kind of stuff.
That is what we need to do. We need to do a full episode on Martyrs.
Man, that'd be rough.
That would be hard.
Do we even have people on the? Have you seen Martyrs?
No.
Oh,
it's
dear
pretty rough.
Lord.
What is it?
It's a French horror film.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to dig that one out for.
It's like top 3 most distressing movies I've ever seen, and yeah, it is. I make it my business to watch distressing movies. Like it's what I do, and it's like top 3 for me. And I've seen some shit. I've seen like every shitty, horrible, like extreme movie you can think of. I've seen it, and even Martyrs. I was like, oh.
It pushes the envelope.
Yeah.
Have you seen a Serbian film or no?
No.
Okay, we need to start her out with Martyrs first. We had to prep you for the other one.
We'll talk about it later, but I probably won't watch it.
Yeah,
it's pretty rough. I don't think we could get.
There's certain things I won't watch.
Maybe Andrew's seen it.
There's no.
What's that?
Martyrs.
Yeah, Jesse's seen it too.
Yeah, Jesse.
I think Scott's seen it.
Yeah, that'd be a rough one. I could talk about that movie for quite a while though.
Me too.
It's a pretty interesting film.
All right, how do we feel? We good with this talk? Should we wrap it up?
I think we're good.
Yeah.
I'm ready to watch the movie again. And
I should watch Get Out. I wish. Yeah, I should have brought it. I should have brought it with me. You could have borrowed it. Dang it.
Oh, Get Out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I'll watch it tonight. I have to be up for work until late tomorrow.
Oh, I gotta be up
What time? 6 a.m. again.
5 a.m.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Yeah, I know.
disgusting.
It's terrible.
All right, folks. This was episode 113 of Real Crime. We'll be back next week. I have no idea what we're going to talk about, but we'll think of something good.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. And the really cool thing is me and Michelle will have seen Avengers Endgame. Oh no, but you won't be here next week. So
No. Did you want to talk about Endgame?
I don't know. Maybe we'll do that the next week. All right.
Well, nobody's gonna want to listen to it until it comes out. So
We'll spoil that shit,
Yeah.
everybody.
they're gonna be like, we ain't even fucking looking at this podcast.
We don't even care. All right, folks. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.